All right, here we are. Welcome. Good morning, everyone that's watching this stream or is going to watch this stream. It's right now 6:24 in the a.m. on August 15th. Here we are, just 5 days from our ninth annual um, fantasy football draft. And this is an opportunity to welcome Chris Byam to the AFL. The purpose of this is basically to just kind of let him know what the league is so he understands what he's got himself into. Uh, I hope everyone that is a part of this would say that you hopefully will enjoy it. They do, for the most part, I believe. There are sometimes a little bit of controversies that happen, but what does Eric Bischoff one time say? Controversy creates cash, and so there's a controversy apparently going on that I need to clear up. So I'm going to start. This is a league part right now. This isn't a welcome Chris part. But so we had a trade happen yesterday, and we've had these happen in the past. And maybe this is my fault for not hammering this home over the last couple of seasons. I think I used to do it a lot, and so so as far as trading goes, we'll just start with trading. So our league has trading pretty much throughout the year. There is a gap where it happens in, I don't have the exact date because it changes year to year. It's around mid-November till whenever our league meeting is, which is usually it's gonna more consistently now be in the end of April. So in that period of time, there will be zero trading allowed. And then when our meeting happens, um, is when trading opens up. And I used to always break it down. There's phase one and phase two. Phase one is at the meeting up until our keeper date, which is June 1st. And what phase one is, you can trade everything and anything you want as far as players. You could literally trade your entire team to another team if you wanted to. Um, but if you include a draft pick, the draft picks have to equal out. So let's say if you made a trade with somebody in phase one, which is pre keeper, so if you trade a player and a first round pick, um, you don't have to get a player back, but you have to get a draft pick back, even if it's the very last pick or whatever. In that portion, it has to be a pick for pick because when you get to the keeper date, you could trade for uh, 30 people if you wanted. The problem is when you get to the actual trade point, you can only keep 10, or the keeper deadline, which is June 1st, you can only keep 10. So now we hit the keeper deadline. June 1st, you keep your 10, everyone keeps 10 players. All draft picks are equal at that point. Everyone's got 10 players, and as of right now, it's 13 draft picks. After that date, up until the actual day of the draft, you are allowed to make a trade, but you don't have to trade necessarily a pick for a pick. Now, if you trade like happened yesterday, there was a player and a pick traded for two picks. So when I actually go in to submit our draft results, the draft it's expecting to have each team is going to have right now our roster is 23. It's expecting 23. So I can't put in less and I can't put in more. It won't accept it. So as long as everything is equal out in the end, it's fine. So if someone came and said we're going to trade after the keeper deadline, we're going to trade a player and two picks for two picks. That doesn't work. Um, I hope everyone understands that. This is something that's always been available. It doesn't happen a lot. Usually, if the trades take place between that deadline, they're usually closer, like this one, the week, if not the day before the actual draft. I know we've had that a few times. um, in the past where I think Jimmy and Nick Ritz did one literally the night before um, the draft. They did a trade. Um, I know in previous years, and this was probably going back 5 years ago, roughly. I don't remember exact year, but let's say it's 5 years ago. I remember there was one team that acquired two players after the keeper deadline. So they actually had 12 players going into the draft, but they had two less picks. So anyone that's newer that didn't know that, that's on me. I do apologize for that. And I guess I've forgotten that I didn't mention the phases. I always thought I've been mentioning them because at our meetings, I always mention the phases, phase one and phase two. Um, so I will make sure to make a point at our next meeting to mention phase one and phase two when the trade deadline's open. Also, Chris, just so you are aware, because everyone else does know this, you are allowed to trade future years up. So if you wanted to trade, like we actually have, we have next year, there are already some players or draft picks have been traded, and in 2024 there are some draft picks that have already been traded. Um, your team is one of the few teams. So the previous owner was Efren Keenan, my brother-in-law. He'd been in the league since he was an original. Um, he was also the 2020 league champion. Um, he was one of the few that rarely did any draft trades. Rarely did any trades, period. So you are one of the fortunate ones that you're good. Whatever you are supposed to have, you have coming to you. So um, it's pretty much your team to do that kind of stuff with now. So that's trading as far as and then in season. So so after the draft, then there's trading. Everything there is done online. As far as you submit a trade, I'm going to trade. But now online, the only thing I'm going to tell you, the only thing that you need to know is when you trade, if you want to trade future picks, you can trade. The computer will act, or the Yahoo is the app we use. Yahoo will actually track the next season. So this is 22. So if you trade anything with 23, it'll automatically it'll lock it in. You're good there. It will not do 24. So if you want to trade something that for the 2 years out or farther, all you gotta do is note it and let me know, and say we're gonna trade this. I'm gonna trade for this player. I'm gonna give them this pick in 2023, and I want to also give them this pick in 2024. And again, you'll have to make sure you get those picks back in 23 and 24, just a pick in that draft. Um, what else when it comes to trading? I wrote this out. But now I'm starting to think if there's anything else. I want to make sure everyone understands everything that I can possibly, every possible scenario. I'm trying to think of extra ones. Um, so yeah, there's phases. I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank right now. I know there was something that popped in my head. It happens a lot. Something pops in my head, and I ramble on, and then it goes away. Um, I can always come back to trading. So that's just for everyone if they don't want to watch this entire thing. Which you know what, watch the entire thing. It's not gonna be. I'm not gonna try to make this too long at all. But hopefully someone will pick up something that maybe you didn't know or you forgot or whatever. Um, so again, trading. There are two phases. Again, I apologize for anyone that did not know that. Um, so let's move on. So welcome, Chris. You're taking over again. You're taking over Efren's team. For this year, you are slotted in the fourth position. The league has been around. This will be our ninth season. We started in 2014. We are a 16-team league. Um, we have four divisions. 4 division winners, and then 2 wild cards go into the playoff at the end of the year. We play 14 regular season games, and after the 14 regular season games, then it goes into the playoffs. 2 teams get a bye. The 2 division winners with the best record will get a bye, and the other 2 division winners will play the 2 wild card teams to obviously go forth. And then there's 6 teams. The next 6 teams that don't qualify, they go into what's called the best of the rest tournament, and that actually gets a trophy as well. It's a much not as fancy. We call it the best of the rest trophy. Um, and then the bottom 4 teams, whoever those are, who didn't qualify for the best of the rest, they're automatically eliminated. Um, and then of course they are locked. They're not locked in as the number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4 pick. I'll get to that in a second. Um, but they would have the best chance. So just hold on, we'll come to that. As far as scoring, um, you should be able to check out the scoring if you go into the app. There should be a thing that'll tell you all scoring. I don't have it pulled up, so I can pretty much um, rushing, passing, and receiving yards, for example, all of those are a point per. So if a quarterback throws for 300 yards, you get 300 points. Um, and I don't have the complete breakdown in front of me. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. So a touchdown, a touchdown thrown, a touchdown caught, touchdown rushed, any kind of type of touchdown is 25 points. There are negative points for getting sacked, negative points for interceptions, negative points for fumbles. There's bonus points for when you hit century marks, so 100, 150, 200 for like receivers and running backs, and then quarterbacks. I believe it's 3, 4, and 5. They get, and those are slotted out as categories. Also, our league is an individual defensive player league. So you will have, so your starting lineup is you start 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, a tight end, a flex, which is your choice of receiver, running back, or tight end. You start a kicker. You start a team defense, which also qualifies as your special teams, and um, and then you start 1 linebacker, 1 defensive lineman, 1 defensive back, and then you have a flex position for defense as well. That's our starting lineup. Total roster as of right now in 2022 is going to be 23. It previously was 24. So this is a big one. So in our 2022 league meeting, which took place in April, the league voted to only carry 1 quarterback for the season, with the exception of your bye week. So when you have a bye week, or when you're quarterback, so let's say you have Tua Tagovailoa, the quarterback for Miami. I don't remember his bye week. I want to say it's week 14. I do apologize, which I don't have that in front of me, but whatever, it doesn't matter. He's week 7. In week 7, then you are allowed to. You can drop him. You don't have to drop him, but you can drop him, or you can drop whatever. You can drop your least favorite player on your team, or your worst player on your team. Pick up a second quarterback for that 1 week that he has a bye week. And so you have a quarterback to play in that week. And then after that week is done, you must drop that one of your quarterbacks immediately. Um, Now, if let's say you have Tua and Tua gets hurt, you are also allowed to have. Oh shoot, I can't remember if we changed that or not. We our IR slots have gone back and forth between 3. I think when we started originally it was 2, and then it went to 3 for a long time, and then when COVID hit, it went to 5. And I gotta look if we're still at 5 or if we went back to 3. I want to say we're at 5 still. Well, you'll see. It won't let you go more than a certain number, anyways. So if it's only 3, you can only have 3 in IR. Anyways, if you went hurt And so you have two options. If you see a 0 or an O next to your player, that means they're out. If that happens, they are eligible to go on IR immediately. If they have an IR, obviously they're eligible to go on IR. So when that happens, you are allowed to pick up a quarterback. So in theory, you could have two quarterbacks at that point. However, one is considered not active. If you activate him, then you would have to drop the other one. Um, Anyone who did not keep a quarterback, or anyone who kept a quarterback, which is the entire league except for you and myself, they are not allowed to draft a quarterback in this draft. So you and I are the only two that are allowed to draft any of the remaining quarterbacks. Now, the quarterback rule is something that we will look at our league meeting in 2023, amongst other things. Um, and I know what it was, the trading thing. So one thing I've been looking at is ways to. Oh, my chair is kind of going goofy on me. One thing I was looking at for the trading thing is maybe ways to modify our trading, and that's something that I'll come up with, and maybe other people can come up with, and we'll discuss that at our league meeting in April of 2023. Also, trying to think of anything else with the roster. Our roster, if you we have a 1 day waiver, so if you drop a player, they're on a 1 day waiver. So I can't remember how the timing of it starts, but it's the equivalent of a 1 day waiver. So if you drop them on, let's say Monday, they can't be picked up until I want to say it's Wednesday at 3 a.m. Eastern time. Everything in our league is 3 a.m. Eastern time starts the next league either day or week, depending on. So when it's the week, a league switches at is Tuesday at 3 a.m. Eastern. That's when it'll actually change. So um, the obviously the league week starts or the games start Thursday night. There's games Thursday night, there's games Sunday night, and then Monday night, and then the league it. So let's say week one, and then week two will actually start at 3 a.m. on the Tuesday after the Monday night game. I covered playoffs. I covered. So we do have a championship trophy. It's a 15-inch resin trophy. It gets engraved. It's a new one every year. Um, and that is also part of the league fee. That's figured into your league fee. Everyone donates for that. I think it's a nice trophy. And it's something that it's not like a perpetual because everyone can keep theirs as opposed to just having your name put onto the trophy. Um, so I talked earlier about the teams that don't make. So a couple years ago, we voted on doing like the NBA does. So we have a draft lottery, and then it's actually positioned out. I know I got the sheet here somewhere. It's positioned out based on how you finish, and any team that makes the playoffs. So the 6 teams that make the playoffs are not eligible for the draft lottery. At least they're out. They're just locked into whatever position they got. Um, I do have it here somewhere, but so the 10 teams that didn't make the championship playoff are automatically in the draft lottery. And I don't remember. I know 85. The team that has the worst record, which obviously if we didn't have a draft lottery would have been the number one seed or the number one pick. They get the most balls. They get 85 ping pong balls, and then the team that wins the best of the rest, they're the 10th seed. They get like I think two or something, or I have a number list. We voted on that a long time ago. We came up with a little formula. Uh, I wasn't, obviously. Here we go. So, if you have the worst record, you get 85, 70. So it was 85, 70, 50, 32, 20, 15, 10, 8, 6, and 4. And we make a big deal out of that. It's kind of cool. And this way, it allows people to. It has two things. One, it avoids the tanking, but more importantly, what it does is it allows people to maybe say, well, you know what? Even though I'm not having a great season, I could still get the best of the rest winner and potentially still move up and get a good draft spot. So um, I know we've had people move up that had I think three. The team that would have been the third pick had we not had a draft lottery, we've had them go as high as one um, in the past. So it also adds some intrigue to our league meeting, kind of spices it up a bit. Um, and again, that was something that was voted on. It's kind of a cool little thing, I think. Um, trying to think of what else. For the most part, that's pretty much the basics. Now, as far as the draft, so I will send you a draft. Everyone gets a draft kit I make. It'll have quarterback list, running back, and it's based off what their 2022 every year obviously changes, but 2022 what their total points expected for the season are. So projections. Um, and then that's how it ranks them. And then we do the draft. So obviously you're not going to be part of this one actually in house. So so we do a stream. Um, 6 o'clock is when the actual draft stream starts. There is a pre-draft stream at 3:30 to about 5:30, and then at 6 we come back on. We have a little bit of presentation, and we start drafting. And there is a time between picks. It's a 15-second time clock. Now the ones that stream, they're a little farther behind. I think it adds like 20 seconds or something. Um, for this year, it's 13 rounds. When we got rid of that quarterback, we got rid of one extra player. Like I said, that'll be all stuff that'll be looked at for 2023, amongst other things. I think the 2023 meeting is going to be a pretty big one, being as it's going to be our 10th year, our 10th season. I think we're going to, maybe it's time to look at some things. Um, but another thing, and now that I think about that, so we also voted a few years ago, so we have 10 keepers. So this year we're keeping, so in 2022 we kept 10 players. In 2023 we're going to keep 10 players. In 2024 we're going to keep 7. So a few years back, we actually voted on switching to 5, and then we upgraded to 7. So this way, it releases some players back into the pool. The whole point is to try to bring the teams that are strong down, bring the teams that are a little bit weaker up, get that parity, and it has worked. I mean, it worked in the first time we did it, which was 2021. For the most part, everyone's pretty evened out. And I mean, there are some that obviously had worse seasons than the top teams. But I think the parity overall, the middle ground is very, very equal. Um, so that's another thing I needed to tell you about. But for right now, for 2020, so when you do your keepers for next year, you're going to keep 10. Um, yeah, it's pretty much everything. Oh, so obviously back to the draft. So um, I'm thinking that your dad, we'll just have you text your dad probably, and then he'll announce it, um, or someone, whoever is your draft rep, we call it when you're not here. Um, we'll announce your pick for you if you watch the stream, or if you choose just to have him. However, the stream is probably the best way to go if you can watch the stream. And you'll get the link obviously in here for that. If you just subscribe, it's probably the best way to go. I think you get automatic notifications that way as well. But we also do send a link during when the draft starts. Everyone that's not here will get a link. Well, everyone in the league will get a link regardless, and then you can just go look at that and then watch it from there. If you have any other questions, feel free to let me know. If there's anyone out there that has a question, feel free to ask it. Um, I'm looking forward to our draft on this Saturday. We're gonna have the pulled pork as always, um, baked beans. Um, Sandy is making her world famous mac and cheese. Everyone's excited about that, and I know I am. And we'll have the draft punch. Probably maybe some cake. Be a good time. The draft is always probably one of the best parts. The draft and the meeting are always my favorite parts of our league. Just having the people that come in house. Um, we have never had all 16 teams in house at the same time. We've had 15. We never had all 16. So one day I'm hoping to have all 16. So Chris, maybe next year you can come here in house with us. We'd love to have you. So again, Chris, welcome to the league. You're not the only one. We also have Ian Rice. He joined the league in April, but this will be his first league draft. Brady, he took over Christina's team. This is going to be his first year as an owner. He has been a GM in the past for when his dad was in the league, but then he bowed out for a little while, and now he's back with us. So um, welcome, and we will see all of you folks on Saturday. So 3:30 is when the stream starts. The red carpet stream pre-draft. Everyone's welcome after 3:30. We'll have the pulled pork, and then about 5:30 I will cut off, and then come back on at 6 for the draft stream. Again, we'll see you on Saturday. Take care, everyone.